Hello, so we're going to be working on the notes for Unit 1, Lesson 2. These are inverse equations. So the last lesson we did go over a few of the things that you needed to know, how to solve for a letter, sorry. So what we're going to do is we're going to be filling in the equation y equals 2x minus 4. So we know x's go here, y's go here. And what we're going to do, you would go on to Desmos. Let me see if I can open it up. So we're going to go on to Desmos. Let's see if I can open this. All right, so here we have it. Y equals the 2x. Y equals 2x minus 4. To get the actual table, we're going to go to the gear sign, hit the table sign. And the nice thing is, here it is. And if you want to add more numbers, all we have to do is click on the number and then go down from that. So we're going to go ahead. Let's see. It worked good. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. And we can get our numbers from Desmos. So -8, -6, -4, -2, 0, and 2. And then if we smooch it in a little bit, and then we can go ahead and graph. Yes, not all your numbers are going to fit, but majority of them are. So we're going to get -1, -6, it's just a little bit off, 0, -4, and or if you know graphing linear equations, we're just going up 2 over 1. Positive slope. And then we're going to connect it, and get that back down. We're going to get a straight line. That was not straight, sorry. We want our graph to be as big as our x and y axis. So, excuse me. Now to find your inverse, we're going to move this over. We're going to switch the equation. We're going to switch our x and y, and then you just solve it for y. So what I like to do is that's the one I want to get by itself. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides. X plus 4 equals 2y. And now we're going to divide everything. Equations are like little kids. If one gets something, they're all going to want it. Oops, don't know what happened there. And I'm just going to switch it around. So y equals x over 2 just means 1/2 x. And 4 over 2 is 2. There's your equation. Now we're going to get x and y. And then we're going to come over to Desmos. We're going to go ahead and write the equation. Let's see if I can move that over. And let's go over here. We want y equals 1/2 x plus 2. And of course, if we wanted the table, there we go. And we can just get a few more if we wanted to. Just push the enter key and it keeps going down. But if you also look at our previous table, if our x, let's see, if our x was, if our x was 1, our y was -2. Here, it's flipped. If our 2, we had 2, 0, we're going to have it flipped over here. 3, 2 is flipped. And we could do this back and forth. So you could, if you wanted to, go for the x's on the x-axis. You could have gone -8, -6, -4, -2, 0, 2, and then just write the values above it. Or we can always just write the equation, which is what I'm going to do here. I'm going to just do the whole number, so -2, 1, because writing it as decimal sometimes, drawing it with the pictures is a little bit harder at times. 4, and I'm not going to get all the numbers, so I'm going to have to just add some more numbers, and you get it. So 2 is 3, 4, 6 is 5, and 8 is 6. And then if we graph it, we get -2, 1, 0, 2, 3. And if you notice your slopes is up 1/2, you can keep going like that too. Whoops, not that one. 1/2 should be right there. And you want to graph it as long as you can. Okay, and if we go down to our questions, what do we notice? What do we wonder? Let me change colors a little bit. If we change the color, the tables, if you notice the tables, our X and Y numbers are just switched. So X and Y numbers are switched. In other words, our inputs and outputs are reversed. The graphs, now the neat thing is, if we look at Desmos, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the tables for a minute so we have some room on it. They're sort of flipped from each other. The neat thing here is that they are, and I want to change this to a dashed line. These are reflections. These two lines are reflections over the line y equals x. So if we went to, let's see, this one, this number here, it's 2, 0, 0, 2. Well, close enough. Yeah, 0, 2, there. They are reflections of each other. So graphs are a reflection over the line y equals x. And the equations, these are just inverse. So what we do is we're going to switch the x and y. And solve. The nice thing is also the slopes are always going to be reciprocals. Always going to be reciprocals. Okay, let's go on to the next one. So here, much different. Here we have a quadratic, and hopefully you guys remember this from IM2. So easy thing what I do for these is I'm going to find the vertex. The vertex is always the opposite of this number, and then this number stays the same. And remember, vertex is at the top of your parabola, or it's going to be the bottom of your parabola. This is also going to tell me which number I want to put in my table. So I want that to be right in the middle. And then I'm going to get numbers on either side. And I can even go ahead and graph those right now. We do know that the first number here, the 4, that's going to tell, since it's positive, it is going to open up. And it also can give you the first number after the vertex. So it's positive. And just like we did slopes, it's going to be up 4 over to the left one and to the right one. And as you can tell, we're not going to be able to get those. But if we go back over here, we can plug it in. And get our table. we can see 2, 1. 2, 1 is going to be our vertex here. So 2, 1. And I want at least 3 more on the other side of it. So I'm going to click on that 2 and just hit the return 3 times. Okay, and so we're going to go ahead and write. So 2, 1, 0, and then 3, 4, 5. So 0 is 17, 5, and 5, 17, and 37. So if this is the vertex, these numbers are going to be the same. These numbers are going to be the same. And if we can continue, we can do that a lot more. And we get our graph. Now the next one definitely is going to be a challenge one. It does come out to be really not as nice as what we want it to be. So I'm going to move it over a little bit so I can write it. So we switched to X and Y. I want to get the Y by itself. So I want to get that one. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to minus. You know, touching it every so often, it likes to be picky. Okay, we're going to minus the 1 on both sides. We're going to get X minus 1 equals 4. Y minus 2 squared. Divide everything by 4. And we're going to get 1/4 X minus 1/4 equals Y minus 2 squared. Now, in order to get rid of a square, we need to take the square root. Oops. And we're going to do that on both sides. Let me get that down. Both sides, and we do want to have a plus or minus because it could go positive or negative. We are going to restrict it in a little bit, and I will show you that in a second. Once we take the square root, we're going to have it, whoops, sorry about that. Touching the screen with it, always fun. So we're going to get plus or minus the square root of 1/4 X. Oops. I don't know why I wrote that. Just a minute. I don't know why I wrote there. 1/4 X minus 1/4 equals Y minus 2. And now we need to get the Y by itself, so we're going to add it. Now the 2 doesn't have a square root like the square root of the 1/4 X minus 1/4. Square roots are very, very picky. They only want to be added to something that also has a square root. So what we're going to do is just going to put the 2 in front. So we're going to go 2 plus or minus 1/4 X minus 1/4 equals Y. And then we get X and Y. Now, we could go ahead on to Desmos, but we know it's going to be a little picky. It's going to be a little bit more crazy, but we could. But we also know that all we have to do is flip our numbers from the previous one. So we could take all these numbers on your left, and all we have to do is flip them. So we're going to go 7, 0, 5, 1, 2, oops, not, sorry, yeah. Forgot to flip that one. 1, 2, 5, 3, and 17, 4. Oh, and 37, 5. And then if we start graphing it, if we did run to 0, jump up to 7, it would be way up on the top, so I'm not going to graph it, but we can go 5, 1, We could do 5, 1, but all I'm going to really do, so if I did 5, 1 here, 1, 2 would be right here, and 5, 3 would be right here. And we get this kind of a graph, not very perfect, but we get the idea. But this is not a function because it does not pass the vertical line test. So what we're going to do, just going to get rid of that. We're going to just delete that part. And all we're going to be working with when we graph it is just with the plus up here. So we're just going to do plus here. And if we graphed it, we'd get the same thing. So y equals 2, whoops, be off of it. Y equals 2 plus square root 1/4 x minus 1/4. And here we graph it, and we can see that it does also flip if we restrict it. And then when you answer the questions on the bottom, it's the exact same thing from previous one. All right, good luck.